What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Wednesday. We got another fun workout for you today. I don't know if you can see that board. It's on there. 21-minute EMOM. EMOM is every minute on the minute. We're going to be doing. I need to turn this music down, or else this video is not going to work. Just going to turn this down real quick. Sorry. YouTube copyright music, same thing we said yesterday, so I got to turn that down. I'm going to see if I can listen to a podcast while this happens. But 21-minute EMOM, you can see it over my right shoulder. I bet it's backwards to you. I'm not a great AV guy, so you can just flip the image or read it on our Instagram story at BlackWolfCF. 21-minute EMOM. Minute 1 is 21 air squats. Minute 2 is 15 push-ups. I always recommend chest to ground there. And then minute 3 is 9 V-ups. Because it's only 9, do the best you can. Again, how can you get the lower back off of the ground? Okay, so once I start the clock, basically you have a minute to complete the assignment. These assignments should be done well under a minute, meaning 21 air squats, which will probably take the longest. Well, actually, when the push-ups fade, that'll take the longest. But in the beginning, 21 air squats will probably take the longest. And so say that takes you 30 seconds to complete, 35, 40 seconds to complete, you're going to rest the remainder of that minute. Then once the minute turns to 1 on the clock, you begin your 15 push-ups. Say the 15 push-ups takes you 30 seconds, you rest the remainder of the minute, rest that 30 seconds until the clock says 2 minutes. At 2 minutes on the clock, you do your 9 V-ups, you rest the remainder of the minute, and then after that V-up round, you go back to the air squat. So you basically have 3 movements, so every 3 minutes is a round, and we have 7 rounds. 7 times 3 is 21. Follow along, watch this video later. For those just joining, I am not particularly great at this stuff. I am not in front of this camera because I move extremely well or am some sort of professional athlete. I am in front of this camera because I need to move, and I'm using y'all as motivation for me to break a little bit of a sweat today. And I know that as we're kind of getting more and more stuck in our homes or in our areas, that most of us need, some version of inspiration to get moving. So no matter what you use this for, we will chat afterwards about updates and talking about the equipment rentals. Had another, I think, 15 people come through today and grab some equipment, and we'll be open one more time tomorrow for y'all to come by and grab some equipment. And as always, if you have some, you can send me an email, talk about what specific workouts you can do with that equipment. But for now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start this clock. Again, we will be beginning with 21 air squats, rest the remainder of the minute. So you can follow along, use my clock, use your own clock, whatever you want to do. But most importantly, have fun. Alrighty. Turned off the whole damn thing. remainder of the minute. So 20 seconds left. Bring the ball. Dog's a nightmare. 8 seconds, we're going to go to 15 push-ups.
Brady to Tampa Bay for Schefter and Darlington as we're wrapping this thing up. 30 mil, 20, 21.
Going to 9 V-ups. Do your best to get your lower back off the ground. Point your toes if you can.
Let's go. My new favorite team. Welcome to the Green Light Pod. I'm your host, Chris Long.
So that's 3 minutes right there. Means we recycle and we're going to go back to the air squats next. We're going to do this 6 more times. Whew! By the end of it, we're going to have 147 air squats. We're going to have 105 push-ups. And we are going to have, 63. Bad at math. 63 V-ups.
Signing with the Colts, reaching an agreement with the Colts. We've seen a ton of movement, including Malcolm Jenkins' option not getting picked up. Dear friend of mine, really good player and a big part of everything Philly has done the past 6 years he's been there. So, a ton of news. We did the pod yesterday, and of course that came out in the morning. And by the time we wrapped the pod, there was news just that continued to trickle in throughout the evening. So we'll just fill you in on the rest of it, fallout, what it might mean from some of these moves. A little update here. The bad news, you got more NBA players testing positive for coronavirus. Kevin Durant will always react to that, so I don't want to be disrespectful and not name them. Couple of read the days with their names. Yeah, so I guess Kevin's the only one who's confirmed it. So you get these high-profile NBA players. And I think, honestly, I'm interested to hear from more and more people who have it. Obviously, when you heard from Tom Hanks and his wife,
Your push-ups will run out. Do not be afraid to use your knees. Keep your butt down. Another one with knee push-ups. Never forget that. Don't ever let someone tell you knee push-ups are for women. Ladies, get your knees off the ground. Gentlemen, don't be so afraid to put your knees on the ground. All right?
been keeping everybody posted. Rita Wilson. Yeah, Rita Wilson, I'm sorry. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson came down with it. Yeah. So, it's been interesting seeing, I think in a sense, like, celebrities getting this thing was kind of a turning point for people because they were going to hear about celebrities getting it before that you're going to hear about, your friends and family because, testing is more readily available. Some of these high-profile people, some NBA players are getting tested. I'm sure Tom and Rita got tested relatively quickly. Also, the fact that we as people, and I do this too, is like, when a celebrity has systems are, depending on our age and fitness level, and if we're immunocompromised or not, are relatively similar. The difference is the access to healthcare and the quickness with which people are getting tested. So I think that, like, some celebrities having this thing, like Idris Elba sharing his thoughts on his diagnosis. He just came down with it, said he felt fine. Rita said they felt fine. I mean, hearing about, obviously, go like the first one, which was unfortunate for him, and I know that a lot of people gave him a lot of shit for the way he was acting, but I saw a lot of people on Twitter acting the same way for weeks leading up. Believe me, I think he acted like a kid about it, but I'm pretty sure he's learned his lesson now. Rudy, you had Donovan Mitchell came down with it in Utah. Now you've got 1 in 75 NBA players that have been diagnosed with it, and 1 in 78,000 U.S. citizens. Well, it has to do with testing. But hearing these celebrities kind of like, I don't know, the scariest part of the virus is the unknown. Like, you've heard from some people on CNN. Hey, Paul. You've heard from some people on the news that Skype in and say, hey, we've got it, or I'm in the middle of lockdown, this is what I see, I mean, like I was in the hospital, and there's some terrible stories, but I think it's also going to help people's sanity to realize that although we should respect and fear this thing, like you're going to see some athletes and public figures come down with it, and you're going to see that as they communicate to you via Skype or selfie video, or they come on an interview, they tweet like, it's not a death sentence. Certainly for everybody, it's something to be taken seriously, but you can also be kind of asymptomatic, which you're seeing a lot of. So, yeah, that's the bad news. More people are coming down with it. There's been like 1,200 cases in the last day, and we're over 100.
Why is this so difficult? Huh? Just one more, right? Just work. Good job. Good job. Hello. Just checking. Told you. Get the ball. Get the ball. Can't help it, buddy. Smart boy. You know where it is. You put it there. EMOMs are lovely. Great chance to work on weaknesses. It's pathetic, but you will not see me loving ever doing really more than 12 air squats in a row. So an EMOM affords me mentally a little more flexibility in knowing I can smoke the 21 in a row and I'm going to get a good amount of rest after. It's great conditioning. So when something like Murph comes along, if I'm doing 21 in a row, 15 is not a problem. All right, 2 more times through. Come here, boy. Where you going? Good boy. If you're bored, go lay down. It's okay. If you're bored, go lay down. God knows I need every second for these push-ups. Let's get 8. So we got ourselves one more time through. And mentally, that should be a relief. I think the beauty of a lot of the workouts we do, we make them seem like a lot as we start, as with many things in life, like how are we going to overcome this? And we realize if we take it one movement at a time, 1 minute at a time, one day we wake up, we're through it. And so it's another reason I love EMOMs. It can seem insurmountable, but you're breaking up bite-sized chunks, and your assignment in this moment is to only worry about the movement, Only worry about those few reps before that movement. And then to you, everything else is not a big deal. We'll take it as it comes. So there you go, a little life lesson. And thus concludes today's quarantine workout. Give me 2 seconds. I'll grab a chair. We'll be back to chat about the goings on of, our current circumstance. Oh. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry, as I said yesterday, measure a man's fitness or a person's fitness is how quickly do they recover. And as we discovered yesterday, 30 birds for time, I myself am not too fit. We're going to get there. There's a very real possibility that I will come out a better athlete from this kind of period of quarantine, self-quarantine, social distancing, whatever stage we're considering ourselves to be in. And like that workout right there, it's very, very interesting. This, oh man. I was mumbling to myself before bringing that workout about it's 2020. Apps should not be this difficult. Like, I don't understand. Things are always okay. Yeah, that's. I don't know, man. There we go. Okay, found it. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure I'm doing my job here. Of course. If you can, shop local. Agreed. Talk more about that now as well. Heart goes out to all the restaurant servers, bartenders, busboys, kitchen staff. Got laid off yesterday. I know that those moves are starting to be made, and just the reality is there's not going to be tips coming in, not going to be money coming in. And, I got my opinions on the legitimacy of the restaurant business. And I'm someone who greatly admires the work takes place in the kitchen, especially a well-run kitchen. Fascinated by Grant Achatz and David Chang, of course, Anthony Bourdain, like learning about their time in the kitchen. Shows like Chef's Table on Netflix. They have the original was in French. It largely revolves around kitchens and restaurants doing like Michelin star level work in gastronomy, and then it does kind of evolve into showcasing just men and women that have exceptional skills and talents. Men and women alike, but women specifically in the pastry season, which is a more recent season on Netflix. Christina Tosi, like that. It's been 21 minutes. Can't get it to work for 21 minutes, and when you don't want it to turn on, it turns on. But Christina Tosi, owner, operator of Milk Bar, which is New York and LA, I think a few other places now. Her episode, and I've talked about this last year, so you've already heard it, but now that we're kind of have some downtime, Chef's Table on Netflix. And then if you need specific recommendations, go to the Christina Tosi episode in the pastry series, which there's only, I think, 4 episodes in the pastry series. They're all great. But hers specifically, it is not directed or written as a like empowerment episode, but her story, her work with David Chang, how she saved him, and helps him get on track, and then how he and her worked to put her off on her own, taking a space that they were not utilizing, and then suddenly she built this thing that is incredibly successful, and she has a team of bakers and chefs working with her that are exceptional. And so Christina Tosi episode of Chef's Table, but all of them are fantastic. Season 1 of the English version of the English language version is particularly interesting. I think the very first episode is the gentleman in Scandinavia who operates like a 4-table restaurant on the other side of a mountain range that you cannot get to unless you're going to stay in the it's kind of like a bed and breakfast, but it's a bed and Michelin star hotel. Bed and Michelin star restaurant. Kind of an interesting combination, but like you can't just visit, like it's so remote, and ingredients availability and being able to cultivate from the land. All the challenges are discussed there. There's a particularly interesting episode in Russia. There's another gentleman in India. It's fascinating. There's a woman who's just a bread connoisseur here in America. There's some great episodes on Chef's Table. But back to I have nothing but respect for what takes place in the kitchen, and the margins in the restaurant industry are so rail thin. But at the same time, something's gone wrong where before this at all, but to me in general, if your business requires you to underpay your staff or pay them less than a living wage, and the way I would extrapolate that is if they're working 40 hours, they ought to be able to live off of what you pay them. And if you want to get into means or level of living, that's another discussion. But I know a large number of businesses that I'm familiar with that I can work 40 or 50 or 60 hours there, and I can't pay for a cheap apartment and groceries and bills. And then in the restaurant industry, you take that even further, and I don't even have to pay my staff. I get to pay them what, $250 an hour, and then just say, well, hustle for tips. The problem is that we're not in the same economic condition that we were when like waiters and waitresses, like wait staff, used to attract customers themselves. That's why you'll go to, the cafes in Europe, and it's a little romantic now, but back in the day, you'd have a waiter or waitress that's been there for decades. It's not how it works here, And I remember there's a CrossFit affiliate here in Houston that's been one of the old dogs, been around for a very long time. And one of my friends, and I think he still works there, he left for a little bit, but when he was coaching there originally, he talked about how the owner was holding the coaches responsible for not getting free trials in. And every week that they didn't have a free trial, they had to do 100 burpees. And I got it, and I told him it's a lighthearted attempt to motivate, but it's negative reinforcement. And from a coach's perspective, they weren't being paid more if they got trials in. The only person that would have benefited is the owner. I don't think they had a manager at the time. They might have, so the owner and the manager maybe, because that would support their salaries. But the coaches didn't see more pay or a bonus if trials came in, and weren't responsible for the Facebook or Instagram. They weren't responsible for outreach. That's on the owner and the manager unless they designate someone to execute. So this coach, he had a good spirit about him. He's a fit guy. He didn't mind doing it, and they did it as a group, and it was fun. But like he did point out, he's like, it's kind of frustrating that because under the guise of this is just a fun way to encourage us to attract more people, there was a very real, and as an owner, I understand, like when you put something like that in place, you're not doing it because it would be fun to have more free trials. You're doing it because you feel desperate that you need people to start coming in your doors. You're hitting a little bit of a low period, which every business goes through. The problem is, man, all that's to say that like, if I'm owning a restaurant, my waiter and my waitresses are not responsible for me getting people to the table. Now, they can be responsible for making sure those people have a substantial ticket upon checkout, meaning they order enough or they order quality foods or they upsell. You want to put that on the wait staff, that's fine, because they should be motivated because their tip is often derived from a percentage of that total ticket. But to get the people to the table, it's not on the waiter, not on the wait staff. So if you do a bad job, owner, and your wait staff just sits in the dining room and goes like, okay, well, I can't wow anybody that's not here, but I'm going to be here for 8 hours and I'm going to get what? $20 because I didn't have a table to wait on. It's a flawed system. And I do understand that food price. And I also understand like in a world where you need to charge what you're worth. The reality is that if you go out to eat, that food should be a lot more expensive. I think it's an episode of Ugly Delicious, which season 2 just came out. But Ugly Delicious, which is a David Chang production, he's in it. They visit Franklin Barbecue. They actually do a barbecue episode. I believe it wasn't just Franklin, but I think Franklin was one of the places they stopped because one of the things they were also doing was different barbecue by region in America, and which is always fascinating, like whole pig versus brisket, like sauce, no sauce, ribs, like Memphis, St. Louis, or Kansas City, they did ribs, and then the Carolinas, they did whole pig, I believe, and then Texas was brisket, if I recall correctly. And when they were talking, I think it might have been Aaron Franklin, but it might have been one of the other guys, and they said, if you consider the number of hands that are involved in bringing barbecue from livestock to the table, barbecue should be one of the most expensive things in the world because the amount of effort, how long it has to be cooked. I mean, you go talk to the guys down the street at Pinkerton's, which, by the way, they're open right now, and they're trying to unload their inventory before they go close down. And so stop by. Grant Pinkerton's a great man. And by the way, congratulate him on losing a walking in the park and killing it. But the Pinkerton's business, the staff there, they've been friends of ours. And so if you can go grab some barbecue, I think they're selling cold and hot. So they got their normal like food that's warm, but I think you can also get like whole meat, like whole briskets and stuff cold. So you can just throw them in the freezer, throw them in the fridge. But swing by Pinkerton if you can. But go talk to those guys about why they're there all night or why we're working out at 5 a.m. We can smell the pits cooking that brisket. Like, it takes forever. And someone has to be on duty to maintain and make sure it's hot enough and move it around the grill. And so under that, the margins should be way more expensive. When I go to Pinkerton's, I'm like, man, this is expensive. But then I understand with labor and resources and what's required to make it happen and how delicious it is. Like, it should be expensive because of the labor and the quality. But now they're going above and beyond because now it's so flavorful and they do such a great job. Well, then that's a few extra dollars too. But then I leave and I'm like, man, why wasn't that $10? Why did I pay 30? And so it's difficult. Go to a restaurant, even with a table service. I want to go to a table service restaurant and I want to be able to get out of there for, $30 on a date. But the reality is I should actually be wanting to get out for $60 on a day. And if I go to a nice place, over $100 on a date, because I should want the staff to be paid well. I shouldn't want them dependent upon tips. I think tips work really well if you're in certain, niches of the restaurant industry. If you're fine dining, fine, leave your staff on tips because their tickets are $200, $300, $400, and the type of person that's dining there is going to tip. But if you're in, I just heard the joke about, you remember the America's Next Great Restaurant, which was on for a season. I just heard Sean Evans from Hot Ones, which if you need something to binge, and I'll share the link on this. Hot Ones. Oh my gosh! First We Feast is the channel. Hot Ones is the show, and Sean Evans, which is by far the greatest pop culture interviewer. The amount of research that man does. Just go look up the YouTube clip of like Sean Evans Hot Ones, guests impressed by Sean. And it's just, there's like 3 20-minute clips of guest after guest saying multiple times in the interview, wow, that's a great question. Whoa, you really did your research. Wow, I'm really impressed by you. And these are celebrities that get interviewed every day. And Sean is just, what a great guy. And he just seems like a great guy. Seems like a guy that like you want to sit and like, I don't know, have a beer with, sit on the couch with, just talk. So go check out Sean Evans on his show, Hot Ones. You may have seen him on Jimmy Fallon. He's done the Today Show, but the show itself is Hot Ones. The episode's about 20, 25 minutes. I guarantee you, your favorite celebrity, your favorite musician, your favorite actress, actor, favorite business personality has been on there, because a lot of people, I mean, Gary Vee was on there for you business types looking for some motivation. Most recently, YouTube sensation David Dobrik was on there. One of my favorites is Gordon Ramsay, of course. I think the Gordon Ramsay episode was fascinating. There's also Sean's White Whale. He talks about that on the H3H3 podcast. And by the way, H3H3 landed Papa John. So if you want to go watch that podcast, if you don't know, Papa John lost his company, lost Papa John's last year. And, some say he deserved it, some say he didn't, but he lost it. And so I think this is his first interview back. I haven't seen it yet, but that'll be fascinating. But Sean Evans, Hot Ones, I'd recommend that. I'll start sharing those episodes. I don't know. I need to stop talking. So anyways, I understand wait staff, bartenders. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's not fair to you. It's also not fair to the owners, though. They're not in an easy spot. And most restaurants, because of the margins, it's not as if these owners are going to, let you go and then kind of roll in their money like Scrooge McDuck. They're all hurting too. Restaurants, there's a reason they shut down so quick. So keep your heads up. We're all in this together. Everybody's stress is the same. And I know nobody likes that. I want my difficulty to be more than your difficulty. But if you analyze that, there's no value to that. So even if you all admit that my difficulty is more than yours, I don't win and you don't win. And so to me, it's not fair, and there's no point. And so what, the guy that works for the Fortune 500 corporate company is going through, it doesn't seem fair, but it's more similar to what I'm going through as a small business owner who is uncertain about the future, as someone that just got released from an hourly job. Life is changing for all of us, and as long as we support each other, take care of our tribes, we're going to get through this. So to the restaurant industry, to everybody, man, everybody, we're all in a chopping block, so to speak, and that's why we can't think about that. So let's move on. Today we rented out some more equipment. So for those that haven't caught up, all memberships are on hold right now. I'm not going to take your money until we get some clarity. So you're not paying for your membership right now for at least the rest of the month. So in the meantime, if you want to grab equipment, $10 per item per week, that helps me bridge a little bit of the financial gap, helps me keep my coaches paid. And then once we get to the first and we see kind of, our rent's going to be paused, postponed, or forgiven, how are things like that going to go? Because if we don't need to pay rent, or if we can defer, then I don't need to rush to take membership dues. I'm certainly not living high on the hog right now, and I don't need to, so I don't need your money for that. I have enough to pay Morgan and myself what we need, and so I'm not going to take membership dues until I'm certain that we're either creating enough value to warrant it, or we're in a financial need that this business might suffer or disappear as a result of not taking it. So that's where we're at. And so if you want to rent equipment, we have one more window. I did the afternoon yesterday. I did the morning today, 10 to 12. So tomorrow, I don't think I sent it out yet. Let me just make sure. I want to say like 11 to 1, try to get that middle group. And I know that most of us are off work, and so really any time is going to be fine. I feel like technology should be easier, man. All right, Thursday is tomorrow. Well, that's not. Tell you what, man, technology, like things should be easier. This shouldn't be so difficult to use. Okay. 17th, 18th, 19th. Tomorrow, let's do 11 to 1. I'll be open one last time. I mean, I forget it's only Wednesday. Maybe I'll be open on Friday. Maybe by Friday, I'll do like, hey, did anybody else want to come by? But tomorrow, for sure, will be your 11 to 1 if you want to swing in and grab a piece of equipment, even if you just have a dumbbell. The versatility of things like dumbbells and kettlebells, even a plate, you can do so much with it. And I can help you. Morgan can help you. We can all help you figure out what to do with it. There's so many. Michelle shared this morning, our members only group, WOD generator, which lets you kind of input the equipment you have, and then it kind of pops out a workout, which is amazing. One of my favorite follows on Instagram right now, or always, is Pat Sherwood, one of the CrossFit OGs. If you haven't heard the CrossFit class mantra of like our purpose is to deliver the best hour of your day, that's from Sherwood himself. L1 seminar staff from the very beginning. He operates CrossFit Linchpin, another great follow on Instagram. But he's doing, I mean, I've seen like 5 at-home workouts a day from him. And I mean, it's just easy for him, man, and all great. So those are some good follows. But sorry, I think I'm finally getting my heart rate back down. The equipment rental, that's kind of the only goings on we have here on site. All the rowers are gone. I've got 4 bikes left. I got plenty of plates, plenty of barbells. Dumbbells are getting thin, but they're still definitely enough to do something with. A lot of kettlebells, especially in the 44, 62, 70 range. Boxes, if you need a box at home to jump on. Step-ups, box jumps, burpee box jumps. Boxes are in pike push-ups. Just stepping up and overs. Like there's boxes are pretty versatile, but you might have something at home you can climb up on. And so if you do, you probably don't need that too desperately. I mean, like I said, I got jerk blocks if you want to do some overhead work during the break. Hell, man, I'll let you take part in my wall. Saw our girl Megan, afternoon Megan, built herself a wooden squat rack in her garage, and it's impressive. It's impressive, Megan. Well done. I think she'll be getting the gains over the break. So that's where we're at in terms of logistics here. The quarantine WODs, one we just did, still going up on the Instagram story. Still put them on the Black Wolf CF website. It's blackwolfcf.com, the Black Wolf CrossFit website. You can always check in there, leave comments, shoot me an email, ben@blackwolfcf.com. Talked to y'all yesterday in yesterday's video about kind of my feeling like I was vibrating at a higher frequency, and by that I mean like my anxiety. And I feel that's settling today. The more conversations I have with y'all, it's just, I'm a creature of habit. Now I'm benefiting greatly from not waking up at 4 a.m. It's first time in a very long time, in 2.5 months, that I haven't woken up at 4 a.m. on a weekday. These last 3 days, and so 2 days. Man, what a weird week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and I will learn to love it. And I'm certainly benefiting. Like I can feel rested while also saying though, then I don't know what to do, because when I woke up at 4, I knew I had to get dressed, have him downstairs to pee, have him back upstairs, grab the food, grab the bag, get out the door, all within 20 minutes. And now, yesterday I think I woke up at 7 and did a lot of staring at the ceiling, like what is my purpose? And then today I woke up at 7, then I went to the couch, was like, you don't need to be up right now. Try to go back to sleep. And I couldn't, but then I did, because then I randomly woke up at 9:25 and I need to be here by 10. And then that made it a rough start to the day. It was just, I'm going to start to establish a routine. And I'm wondering, it's a little early. I don't think you need to worry about this, but I do know there's a lot of worry about kids. There's a lot of worry about even just husbands and wives. I think we need to establish routines. And, nobody likes it when I'm like, okay, so what time are you doing certain things on these days off? But having structure to your downtime still it'll do better to guarantee your recovery and guarantee your relaxation than saying, I don't want to structure because then I won't relax. For me, when I relax without structure, that's when I either do too much by way of disengaging or too little. So what I mean by that is like if I don't have a time frame for, am I going to spend an episode of Chef's Table or am I going to watch a Chef's Table and then The Office and then 3 clips on YouTube? It's not that that's wrong. Nobody should judge you. Nobody should judge me for it. But I do know that like my sweet spot is usually like a full episode of something and then 2 short clips of something, and it's about an hour. And then I know I can bounce right back up, get going again, and when I say accomplish things, like read or get to work if I need to. And so I would encourage you in the coming days to establish structure. With this quarantine, weekends don't matter. So don't be like, well, the weekend's almost here. Well, you know what? Saturday's going to be a lot like your Wednesday. So like, you might as well figure it out now. So start establishing some structure. I think going to bed at the right times and waking up at the right times. It doesn't have to be as early, but I still think like I normally need to be in bed before 10. Well, that doesn't mean I should stay up till midnight now. I actually would be really well served by going to bed around 10 each time. It's just I don't need to be as strict about it. But like if I'm in bed by 10 and sleep by 10:30 and I'm waking up around 7, that's 8.5, 9 hours of sleep. And doing that, repeating that, and that, again, I'm not judging. It's recommendation, guideline, not a rule. I'd encourage it. And I think your kids spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes about teachers deserving $1 billion. What I don't understand is why y'all didn't believe that before this. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I lead classes, and I lead adults, and I see how much adults don't pay attention, talk while you're talking, meander around, aren't necessarily the most respectful. And I'm like, oh man, if adults are this way, kids must be worse. But then I also recognize that teachers are often the ones that can't sit still, can't listen while an adult, like while someone else is leading. So it's always kind of interesting. But like, there's never been a doubt in my mind that teachers have an incredibly challenging job. And so I think the jokes are cute, but at the same time, I kind of worry that some parents are like actually being like, for the first time, like realizing it. And it's like, well, man, we should be appreciating the teachers way ahead of this, and memes don't do that. Like it should just be like authentic praise. And the ones I think are more true is like, y'all gonna learn that your teacher wasn't lying. I think it's fascinating. So you've got to be strict with the kids. You got to be strict with yourselves. Again, spare the rod, spoil the child. You've got to keep structure. Okay. I am not advocating corporal punishment, though. I was spanked as a kid, and I don't know, that whole different story. I told you I'm better at the first 10 minutes of conversation than I am at the last 10 minutes of conversation. So I'm going to wrap this up. So it is 2:35 on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. We are on the 3rd day of our coronavirus workouts. I will be back tomorrow with you. I think Thursdays and Sundays we're going to work and some stretching. Brazil gymnastics, the amazing Katie Brazil's got an incredible YouTube channel. I'd love to push some subscribers that way. So tomorrow, look for an awesome midline workout and some mobility work. Okay. Remember, Black Swan Yoga is doing a local here. They're from all locations in Houston, kind of gym favorite in terms of yoga studios. They're doing online Instagram live classes right now. So take part in that. Stretch, move. Always be moving, my friends. You got to keep moving during this break. It is okay to sit on the couch. If you Brandy Ball style, walking 20,000 steps a day because you're working at those high schools, doing color guard, teaching, all that stuff. Yeah, man, give yourself a long amount of time to just be down, just lay down, relax. But most of us aren't doing that much physical labor during our day. We're not moving that much. Let's be real. Most of us sit in a cubicle, sit at a desk, and it does mean it's an easy job, but it does mean like we don't need to like resign ourselves to sitting longer because you sit your whole life. But for those that do need a break, do sit down. But the rest of us, we got to move. We got to move. So try to touch your toes, do some air squats, drink a lot of water. And remember, eat your vegetables. Quarantine is not a reason you like shit. Not a reason you like shit. All right. It's 2:37 now. That's 2 extra minutes you didn't need. I'm going to get out of here. Jack, thanks for putting up with him. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. And as always, if you have any issue at all, please let me know. I am here to help. All right. Y'all have a great day. Bye.